My name is Gray Cruz. I'm a sophomore, and this is my MLK essay. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, Martin Luther King Jr. said in this well-known letter that he wrote from a Birmingham jail on April 16, 1963. I believe that this quote is expressing that when there is an imbalance in one area, that imbalance will affect everywhere, everyone, and everything around it until there's a shift in stability. Dr. King wrote this letter to his fellow clergymen in an attempt to focus on and correct the social injustices going on in Birmingham, Alabama, that he has observed and experienced. The things that were going on during this time can relate to things that go on in society today. Dr. King was making an effort to stop injustices from happening in Birmingham peacefully, just as we should peacefully start working to stop injustice from happening today. Instead of talking about injustices and what horrible things it has done and is capable of doing, let's focus on how we can fight injustice and what it would be like when injustice is non-existent. There are many forms of injustice, but my focus is social injustice, which has many forms, including but not limited to gender, ethnic, age, and racial. Let's start with gender injustice. What is gender injustice and equality? Gender inequality, as stated in Wikipedia, is a social process by which men and women are not treated as equals. Why is gender inequality a problem? Gender inequality is a problem because men and women are being undermined and underestimated when it comes to certain tasks that both genders are perfectly capable of doing. The common example of gender inequality is in the workplace. Sometimes women in the same ranking office with the same amount of training and experience are paid less for doing the same, if not better, job than men. Now that we have found the problem, how do we fix it? We find the root. We go to the head honcho, demand equality, and if that doesn't work, we keep going. We keep finding ways to get women equal pay, and we don't stop until it's done. After you've reached your goal and received equality, you will inspire and empower others to demand change and get that equality and justice that they deserve. The other type of social injustice mentioned is what I believe to be the most common and talked about, racial injustice. Unfortunately, racial injustice has been a huge problem for centuries and still is today. Every day a new story comes out about racial problems for inequality, and sometimes we even see and experience it ourselves. Racial injustice is a mistreatment of human beings for the color of their skin. An example of this is a convenience store owned by Asians, charging another person of Asian descent $3 for a pack of donuts, and then charging a person of Hispanic descent $4. While this example does not seem to be a huge deal, soon the Hispanics will pick up that they're paying more for the same pack of donuts that an Asian pays less for. The word will get out, and the convenience stores owned by Hispanics will start charging Asians more than and the problem will escalate from there. Not all Hispanics and Asians in this scenario are racist or prejudiced, but they will be treated as such because of this one convenience store. How do we fix this? We address the problem. We point out the fact that not all Hispanics and Asians are treating each other unfairly. We form a committee, have a community meeting, and find a way to ensure that this overcharging and racism is stopped. We have to make sure that we get to the root of this problem before it becomes too large to address in a community meeting. We have to stop the injustices before they become statewide, nationwide, and then worldwide. Because Dr. King told us that injustice anywhere will and can diffuse. Through all these examples and scenarios, we can see that when injustice is formed, it spreads while we are thinking it spreads slowly, it spreads before we can even blink our eyes. The next thing that we know, every newspaper will have a section on injustice occurring somewhere new. We've also seen that we can prevent that. We've seen that if we get to the injustice before it spreads, or even after it spreads, we reestablish justice and equality, it will have the same effect. It will spread and diffuse. If we keep our actions in fighting injustices, one day we will be shocked to see the injustice and inequality as opposed to be expecting it. Dr. King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So how will you make justice a threat to injustices everywhere?